Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and as you all know, this is your transfer daily show, keeping you up to date with what players are linked with Manchester United and that. So quite a lot more things is currently updated. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified his two top priority targets for this month, and that is Aston Villa's Jack Grealish and Leicester City's James Maddison. But there's also a lot of other midfielders on our current agenda, because obviously you can say now we look very exposed in that midfield. Obviously, with Paul Pogba out for up to 4 weeks, and McTominay, of course, out until February. But either way, we still need to address that midfield, because that's one of the priority areas where Manchester United do need to strengthen up, and there's possibly other areas in the squad as well that we do need to strengthen up as well. But it's not assured that we will make many signings in this January transfer window, but I think Solskjaer is orchestrating on making at least 2 signings this month. So we will start with Jack Grealish. Now, I have been updating you about Jack Grealish recently, in that he has been subjected to quite a bit of a transfer speculation. Now, Jack Grealish can play as an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a winner, and I think he's been in absolutely scintillating form for Aston Villa. He's actually spent the majority of his career with Aston Villa. Don't forget he was in their youth academy for a lot of years. And he's actually a really good player. So do you think, from your own perceptions, that he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United? He's only the age of 24. Solskjaer, of course, does want to continue the policy of recruiting young players into the football club. He also, I think he had a loan spell with Notts County, but apart from that, he spent his career with Aston Villa. For Aston Villa, he has made around 53 appearances in the Premier League. I think in total, including the appearances he made in the Championship when Villa were in the Championship, he has made over 100 appearances in all competitions. So yeah, so he's one player that's on Manchester United's agenda. I can't really estimate, how much he would cost us. I think he has got a contract with Aston Villa until 2023. I think also, Tottenham have been long admirers of him. James Maddison, I have been updating you about him on a regular basis. As you all know, James Maddison is predominantly an attacking midfielder, even though Brendan Rodgers has played him out wide quite a lot of times. Now, allegedly, Man United have been in for James Maddison since June of last year. Last summer, we was tentatively linked to him, and what I mean in that aspect, he wasn't one of our main priority targets, and that the club are aware that, he will cost us a substantial amount. I think for us to convince Leicester to offload him, we'd probably have to pay in the excess of around maybe 60 or 70 million pounds. I think we'd probably have to pay the same or a similar fee, to what we paid for Harry Maguire. And I think James Maddison would be a good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba and that. James Maddison is only the age of 23. He's currently now into his second season with Leicester, and he's enjoying a really good season. He's flourishing under Brendan Rodgers' guidance. So he's basically replicating this season what he did last season in his debut season with Leicester. Last season he created more chances than any other player in the Premier League, and that. He's still got around 3 years left on his contract. I think he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. But I think he would complement our midfield fantastically well, because, like I said, now we've got McTominay and Pogba out. The only midfielders we can rely on is Matic, Pereira, and Fred. And, you could say, like, Matic and Pereira are definitely two liabilities. I've got concerns about them. I think Fred's a good player. I think he's flourishing as a Manchester United player, I've got to be honest. But I think, there's still a lot of aspects of his game that I do need to improve in now. But James Maddison would be the right player. Leicester only paid £20 million from Norwich in the summer of 2018. And I thought he enjoyed quite a few good years with Norwich. Before he was at Norwich, obviously, he was at Coventry. That's where he actually began his career with Coventry. He also had a loan spell with Aberdeen. So yeah, James Maddison and Jack Grealish are reportedly our two top priority targets this January and that. So if we could get them in, I would be very, very delighted. There's another player that's just been mentioned today. This is actually as well stemming from Sky Sports, which is a very reliable source, but it's also in quite a few other media outlets. Reportedly, Manchester United are linked with Gelson Fernandes. Now, he currently plays for Benfica. He is only the age of 20. I think he is predominantly an attacking midfielder. I think, for the vast majority of the games he's played, he's actually operated on that right-hand side. But Gelson Fernandes is actually no surplus to requirements at Benfica. I don't think he has played in his last 7 games or something like that. Now, I think, Benfica have had their overarching view on the speculation regarding Gelson Fernandes. And reportedly, they are determined to let him go on an 18-month loan with then an option to buy at the end of the loan and that. He does have around the £102 million release clause in his contract, but I think Benfica have come to accept the fact that, no team are determined to pay that amount of money for him. And obviously, like I said, he's out of favour. Reports are saying that his current representatives, this is from Sky Sports, his representatives have been in the UK. They've been in the UK, or they are still in the UK, negotiating with around 4 Premier League clubs over the potential move for Gelson Fernandes. Now, I think it says that West Ham are also in for him. Lyon and AC Milan have also expressed their interest in the player. But I do believe the player's preference is move to the Premier League. Now, obviously, West Ham recently recommended David Moyes as their new manager. Obviously, following the sacking of Manuel Pellegrini. Now, obviously, David Moyes is going to want to make investment in that West Ham team. He's reuniting with West Ham because don't forget before David Moyes was at West Ham. So yeah, reportedly they are in for the player. Now, Gelson Fernandes has spent the entirety of his career so far with Benfica. He joined their youth academy in 2009, and then obviously I think he was in their youth academy for around 8 or 9 years. Then obviously made his senior debut in 2018. But I think his work rate's good. He shows a lot of tenacity, blends in that midfield really, really well. But the question is, if he was to come to experience these Premier League facilities and that, do you think he'd be able to replicate in the Premier League, what he's obviously done with Benfica? Because obviously if he comes to the Premier League, it's a new era for him. He's playing amongst different players. But he's only very, very young. Like I said, he's only 20, so he has still got a lot of development in him. So now reportedly, Gelson Fernandes is a target for Manchester United. So he's another one on our current agenda. As I did give you the news yesterday regarding Sean Longstaff and Emre Can. Now, they are two players on our current agenda and that. Now, with Sean Longstaff, don't forget, Man United have been long admirers of him. Was in for Sean Longstaff last summer. Well, we was relentlessly linked with him last summer. Obviously, the main factor reason why Man United didn't get him is because I think, from my own perception, Newcastle were demanding a substantial amount for the player. There was demanding around £50 million. Man United were reluctant to pay that. I think we was determined to pay like maybe 30 to £35 million, but we wasn't willing to pay what Newcastle were demanding, because from Newcastle's perception, they know how much of an imperative player that Sean Longstaff is to them. So yeah, now where we are in him, like I said, Sean Longstaff again, very, very young, only the age of 22. And I've got to say, I think he's been a revelation for Newcastle. He's flourishing under Steve Bruce's guidance. I think he also did well under Rafa Benitez's guidance. But I think, if Newcastle are willing to soften their stance on him, I think they'll still want in the excess of around £50 million. Obviously he began his career with Newcastle. And I think he's gone on now to make around 23 appearances for them in the Premier League. He is predominantly a box-to-box midfielder, by the way. Also, he had loan spells with Kilmarnock and Blackpool. So yeah, he's another player on our current agenda, Sean Longstaff. Emre Can, there was a lot of speculation regarding him yesterday. Of course, Emre Can is said to requirements at Juventus. Obviously Juventus did get him in 2018 on a free transfer from Liverpool, because he actually did endure 4 good years with Liverpool. So he's obviously had experience of playing in the Premier League, but I think it could be very imminent that Emre Can does depart Juventus, because since Maurizio Sarri got recommended in to Juventus, Emre Can his appearances are becoming limited. He's only played around 272 minutes of football for Juventus this season. I can't really estimate how much he would cost Man United. He is 25 years of age, so he's actually nearly in his prime. He's Emre Can. And he's versatile as well. I think he's predominantly a central midfielder, but he can operate as a defensive mid. He can play as a right back. He can also play as a centre half. So his versatility is very, very good. The other clubs he's played for before, like I said, Liverpool, he was up by Leverkusen, and he actually began his career with Bayern Munich. So he's another player that Manchester United are in for. Sol Niguez, obviously there's been a lot of talks about him going on in the mainstream media. Allegedly, Man United have been in for Sol Niguez since 2015. So if that's to be true, we've been in for him for a number of years. Now, we're seeing Sol Niguez as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Sol Niguez, of course, has never played in the Premier League. He spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. Like I said, was a product of their academy, and has gone on, obviously, to make over 250 appearances since he broke into the senior squad. He's going to cost the club a substantial amount. I think we're probably going to have to pay in the region of around 128 million, maybe, because I think that's his actual release clause. In his contract with Atletico Madrid. He is under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026, because don't forget, a couple of years ago, he signed a new 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. So he's another midfielder on our current agenda. And also, we have got quite a few attackers on our current agenda, because obviously, we're looking for the replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because you can't say since their departures, we've looked very exposed in that attacking line. I know that the likes of Martial, Rashford and James have all been in scintillating form, prior to the game against Arsenal and that. But I just think, we need to see more inspiration in that attacking third. We need to see more experience. And we need someone to come in who can score us goals, someone who, of course, can create chances in that. But who would be, the right calibre player? Now, as you all know, at one point it was looking very, very imminent that we was going to get Erling Haaland from Red Bull Salzburg. So it was looking very imminent. He was going to be our first signing in this January transfer window. He was going to be our fourth signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But obviously now it hasn't materialised that, because it got confirmed that Erling Haaland has joined Borussia Dortmund for around 17-18 million pounds. That was actually his buyout clause, and he signed a contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2024 as the player. And I think it's today he's officially announced as a Borussia Dortmund player and that. But I was gutted, that we didn't get him, because I think it would have been very, very beneficial to recommend Haaland in, because taking into account he's played under Solskjaer's guidance during his period with Mould. Solskjaer was obviously, the man that, give him his debut at just the age of 16. And Solskjaer, of course, was keen on a reunion with the player and that. And like I said, it would have been a very cheaper solution, would Erling Haaland. So I did say they left Red Bull Salzburg either way, whether they come to Manchester United or not. But obviously, I think he did well for Salzburg this season before he left. He scored, 28 goals in 22 games in all competitions. So obviously, he was a revelation for them. It fueled speculation of quite a few weeks ago when it obviously, said from the media that Solskjaer and Ed Woodward had flew out to Austria, to meet up with Erling Haaland regarding the January transfer to Man United. And then obviously there was reports. This was prior to the Everton game, like I updated you. He said that obviously, he'd allegedly boarded a plane from Norway to Manchester. Solskjaer, of course, had denied all this speculation. He said he boarded a plane somewhere else. He wasn't to Manchester. According to women that. But it's a shame, that we didn't get Erling Haaland. Allegedly, he did tell Solskjaer that he wanted to come to Man United. And even if he had come to the Premier League, it wouldn't have been assured, that he would have been, good. If he'd come to the Premier League, maybe he wouldn't have replicated, what he did at Red Bull Salzburg, because obviously, it'd have been in the way for him. Maybe he wouldn't have settled in straight away. So also, take that into account. But I still would have been excited about the prospect of him, playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Daniel James, and Anthony Martial. So, like I said to you, we've obviously now got an alternative to Erling Haaland. And I was reading recent reports the other day, and there was a lot of speculation going on about it, and it was also stemming from Sky Sports. And they said, we've showed an interest in Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton. Now, reportedly, Everton do rate him at around £50 million. So if we've got any chance of getting him, we're going to have to pay around £50 million. I'm very sceptical that we're going to get him anywhere, because I was reading recent reports, and it did actually say Everton have been in negotiations over getting Dominic Calvert-Lewin a new contract, and they were set to give him a new 5-year contract, reflecting on his good run of performances. And I think, since Everton, recommended Carlo Ancelotti, and he's flourished under Carlo Ancelotti's guidance, and Carlo Ancelotti's so far only managed 3 games for Everton. He's won 2, and of course he has lost 1. Obviously, Everton lost to Man City. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think, is now into his 4th season with Everton. In total, in the Premier League, he has made 97 appearances, and I think he scored around 19 goals. In all competitions, he has made like 112 or 113 appearances. Again, very young, only at the age of 22. And he's still under contract with Everton until 2023. Everton only paid, they got him for next to nothing. Everton only paid around £1.5 million from Sheffield United, because he actually began his career with Sheffield United and that. And then obviously he had loan spells with Stalybridge Celtic. He also had a loan spell with Northampton Town. But I can't see Dominic Calvert-Lewin, coming in. But, he's well Premier League proven, like I said. And maybe at Manchester United, if he came, he would be able to replicate, what he has been doing with Everton. So he's another, attacker on our agenda. There's still a lot of talks going on regarding Moussa Dembele from Lyon. A lot of talks going on about him. Don't forget he's an out-and-out number 9. I think he's actually keen on making a return to the Premier League, because don't forget he's played in the Premier League in the past. He began his senior career with Fulham and that, and I thought he enjoyed a great 3 years or so with Fulham in their senior squad. Then obviously, went on to Celtic, had a good couple of years with Celtic. Now obviously, he's at Lyon, and I think this is now his current 2nd season with Lyon. Lyon only paid around £20 million from Celtic in the summer of 2018, and he's under contract with Lyon until 2023. So do you think, he would be the right solution for Man United and that? So yeah, that's the transfer news. That's all the transfer news to give you guys an update on. But like I said, our recruitment has got to improve because our recruitment has been very poor for several years. Our board are determined to back Solskjaer. You know, they're determined to back Solskjaer. They're going to give him this window. They're going to give him this summer to see who of course he can recommend in to the football club. You know, I think Solskjaer's going to get unlimited funds. He's going to get unlimited funds. I think he's going to... Well, I think, me estimating on this, you know, he's going to get from 250 to 300 million, maybe even more. Well, that's what I think, you know, we will consider spending on recruiting new players into the football club. But for my own perception, you know, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. You know, I don't only think we need more incomings. We also need to see more outgoings because, like I said on my recent videos, there is still problematic players at the football club, definitely. But like I said, you know, there's only 3 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's at the moment, and it's those 3 players who we recommended into the club last summer. We spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and you've got to say they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. And I've got to say, you know, they've probably, you know, been my best players of, you know, the 3 signings, you know. And like I said, the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, because take into account Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. You know, Solskjaer's still inheriting the vast majority of them, and there's still players even the Van Gaal era he's inheriting. There's still Matty from the David Moyes era. There's, you know, a few players even from the Alex Ferguson era still. So he's still in the process of rebuilding. You know, we've obviously, you know, got quite a few long-serving players now at the football club. We've obviously had long-serving players in the past. You know, like I said, we've got De Gea still here. You know, he's enjoyed 8 years. He's now into his 9th season at Man United. You know, we've got Young here. He's now into his 9th season at the club. You've still got Jones here. He's now into his 9th season at the club. You know, Juan Mata. You know, he's now into his, 6th season at Man United. You know, he's initially lost his place in the team anyway. You've got Lingard, that's been here for several years. I've criticised Lingard a lot this season because he hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect from him. And reflect on his status in that at the club, he should be, you know, be more consistent. Rashford's been here since he was the age of 7. So far, he's spent the entirety of his career with Man United. You know, Luke Shaw's now into his 5th season at the club. So we have got quite a few long-serving players in the team still, you know. You know, and all that. But like I've said on my recent videos, we need a variety of changes at the football club. You know, we need a change of management. We need to get our board out. We need to get Ed Woodward out. We need to get the Glazers out. We also need to get our coaching staff out. But it's not always, you know, the right solution, you know, getting rid of managers. Because not all of the blame stems from the manager, you know, to be fair. Because, you know, we've tried that, you know. Because obviously, you know, we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. You know, Moyes left after 10 months. Van Gaal, of course, went after like a year. And obviously, you know, Jose Mourinho left after 2.5 years. And, you know, we're not really known for sacking a football club. You know, and we've obviously enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. You know, we're actually enjoying our worst start to... You know, this is the worst start we've ever had in the Premier League era and that. And, you know, that's an absolute embarrassment. And but like I've said to you, you know... I know Solskjaer isn't the right man for Man United, but like I said, he's not accountable for all of our bad performances and results this season. You know, I think everyone else, you know, does need to take some responsibility. You know, take that into account. So, yeah, so I just wanted to update you on some more transfer news. There will be another video coming up later on, you know, to give you an update on, you know, I'm going to give you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, building up to the Wolves Man United game. You've just seen my preview, haven't you, earlier on today for that game. And like I said, it's going to be a very difficult game because Wolves are a good, competitive team. I know they have lost their last 2 games and that. but, you know, they're still a very, very good team with a lot of good players. You know, they've also got a fantastic manager in Nuno Santo. I think his managerial credentials are good. You know, and like I said, Molineux has been a fortress to us in recent years. You know, Wolves are unbeaten against us in total in their last 4 games. You know, and this is actually our 4th visit to Molineux in 10 months. So we have played them quite a lot of times. You know, like I said, Wolves finishing 7th last season, you know, was very good to their standards. You know, with them finishing 7th last season, they got automatic qualification for the Europa League, which is good. You know, and obviously now they're into knockout stages of the Europa League, and I'm very sceptical that they'll win it. They enjoyed a fantastic FA Cup run last season, progressing to the semi-final for the first time in 21 years. So, but like I've said, I'd love us to enjoy a good cup run, like we did last season when we progressed past Reading. We beat Arsenal, we beat Chelsea in the 5th round, but then lost to Wolves in the quarter-final last season. But for me, the FA Cup is not an ambition to us. I said to you on my last video, we've got 3 ambitions. That's the Carabao Cup. I think that's the only chance we've got of winning any silverware this season. We've got to get some silverware on the board. There again, you know, we could win the Europa League. And I also, you know, do want us to get the top 4. You know, because, you know, we need to get that top 4. And we're still in that top 4 race, despite the fact, you know, that Arsenal did beat us. You know, it was our 6th defeat of this season. We are 5 points behind top 4. But I think if Chelsea, you know, hadn't have had a bad run of form, I would have actually, you know, now fully disregarded that top 4 and that. But our aspirations is definitely going to be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. We're not good enough to win the league, you know. We're not good enough to win the league. We won't win the league for at least the next couple of years. We haven't won the Premier League, you know, since 2013, and that is obviously, you know, 7 years ago now, and that came in Alex Ferguson's last season, you know. But yeah, so I will be on the press conference later on. Drop me comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribing. As always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.